What's up, good people? What's up? Well, June is right here. June is coming. May is ending, and I'm so excited. My birth month is right here, and also Eid is on the way. Yep. I hope you're really well, dear SNS lover, and I would like to take you through the entertainment stories that are making headlines around Uganda. Well, first off, Zari is back in the headlines, and this time around Zari is to move in with King Bae, the new lover, and I think it's because of the dishes that have been going out headed towards her, and most of the time people were saying that Zari is not leaving Diamond's house, even though she claims to have dumped him over a year ago. So till today Zari was still living, actually till now she's still living in Diamond's house, even though she keeps saying that Ivan, her late ex-husband, had 4 houses and that she could go to any of those if she wanted. And people were still asking, why would she be living in Diamond's house and bringing her new lover to another man's house? Very weird thing. But Zari showed off the new house, which was still in preparation and design and stuff, brand new, bought by the guy, and it looks to be $1 billion house. Really, not billion dollar, of course. I would say billion shilling house. Yes, or million shilling house, multi-million. It's a very big, expensive house in South Africa, and it looks like kind of a ranch. Yes, a ranch, and then there could be some water nearby, something of the sort, and it's really a high-end place to live in. And Zari bragged with that kind of thing, and the guy is actually some charming fella, King Bae, even though we've not seen his face yet, but all we can see is that he's a very charming fella, and he's very good with kids. And I think that's the first thing that really got Zari, that when she's not available or not around, he's very good with her kids, and that's something that cheers her up, and I think it's the reason why she has decided to make it serious with him. And I really fear for her somehow, because I really hope she doesn't go quick with this relationship, because usually things don't go right with her, and she's not the kind of person who is afraid of having kids. She once revealed in an interview on NTV that she doesn't mind even having 10 kids. Wow. So really, if at all she rushes this relationship, it might end up to be just like any other. But well, that's her choice to make. It's not mine. That's just my opinion. And then Sheila Gashumba. Wow, Sheila Gashumba and MC Cats, these guys are back together now. They've buried the hatchet. They're back to being friends. Can you imagine? Well, if at all you remember very well, Sheila threatened to sue Abba some time back for using her photo on their artwork without her consent and without paying her. And Cats begged her to forgive the guys. But then Sheila didn't take this in good faith, because she says she refused to pick up her phone when she was trying to explain to him how the real story was. Yes, and she actually started accusing Cats that Cats begged for alcohol money from her, not once but many times. Whenever they're in the bar, he usually begs for money from her and the boyfriend God's Plan. And she added more things when Cats decided to hit back. She also added more sauce to the fire. She added more tea to us, and says that Cats always got bribes from people to not play their rivals' music when he was still at NTV. Can you imagine such a serious allegation that she put up? But anyway, Cats is such a very easygoing fella that right now a photo came out of them, Cats, Sheila, and God's Plan, Sheila's boyfriend, posing for that entire moment. And Sheila posted it on her Twitter with a caption about last night with MC Cats UG and God's Plan, love and respect. Imagine, many people were very happy about it, the likes of Salvador and stuff, but some of us were actually very shocked because it looked to be a serious beef between them. Anyway, yeah, Cindy and Sheebah. Oh dear Lord, Cindy has decided to knock out Sheebah with a new hit song, and that song is called Copicat. She spelled it with an I, not the real Copycat with a Y, because Copycat is COPYCAT. She spelled it with a COPICAT. For whatever reason, I'm not really sure. Creatives have their own reasons, but it's a very big hit song, and it's a diss song towards Sheebah. Well, Sheebah has tried to hit back, but her song Kimansolo really is not a great song, at least if you compare it to her other songs, Sheebah songs. Kimansolo is not a good song, and Cindy really sent her to hell in this one. She sent her to school. Bloody pickup, bloody punchlines, bloody beat, deadly song, that one. I can say that. And of course, this entire beef between Sheebah and Cindy started out when Cindy was at an interview with Calvin Entertainer on UBC TV, and she was asked if at all she would mind battling Sheebah, who is nowadays the king of Ugandan dancehall music, according to most people. And Cindy decided to say she can never battle Sheebah because Sheebah is not mature enough musically, that she cannot sing, so she can't handle this. And Cindy actually gave an example of a recent concert that Sheebah was at, her own concert actually, that she felt really impressed. She tried to sing high notes, which she couldn't handle. She tried to do things she couldn't really do. She would dance well, of course. She's a great performer, Cindy. And Sheebah as well. I would say that Sheebah tried to perform well because she's a great performer, of course, but she failed to sing. And this actually didn't go well with Sheebah because to her, she says Cindy wouldn't just go to TV and begin saying such things. She would have just been teaching Sheebah what to do. Yes? And Sheebah actually went ahead to also diss Cindy by saying that they could be learning from each other. Sheebah would be learning how to sing from Cindy. Cindy would be learning how to own a house from Sheebah. And this is what really triggered the entire thing, because Cindy went on to say she owns a lot of stuff, but she's not out here showing off about that stuff she owns. She owns property, and that this is about the music, and Sheebah needs to just get better instead of getting pissed over this. And in the same vein, of course, Sheebah knows her weakness actually. And if I may think of it well, even though when thinking of the house issue, I think Sheebah shouldn't be so sure that she owns that house, because as you may remember, Reddy and Weasel, they fought with Sheebah's current manager now, Jeff Chiwa. They fought with him almost a career-long war over the ownership of the house at Neverland, the house they named Neverland in Machindia Kizungu. Reddy and Weasel always thought they owned that house, but in the end, actually Jeff argued that he owned the house. So really, Sheebah shouldn't be so sure that she owns the mansion in that place in Mienga. But like I was saying, she's actually aware of her weaknesses musically, and that's what she capitalizes on, because normally she doesn't sing very soft songs that bring out vocals and stuff. She sings dancehall songs, she sings Afrobeat songs, danceable songs that make people cheered up to dance. One corner, such kind of thing with cool, natural Ugandan touch of guitars and stuff. So really, Sheebah has managed to do that with her costume, with her dance, with her musical touch, which is not so soft and stuff for the sweet melodies of the likes of Maurice Kiria or Rema Namakula or whoever, but or Juliana, maybe you might say. But really, personally, I really think she should do better, and she should choose better songs to do at places like Coke Studio, because I was very disappointed by the way she performed Harmonize's song called Atarudi. Really, I do not even know why she chose that particular song in the first place, because I think she would have done a better job if at all she would have chosen maybe a song like Kadamshi or a song like Kwangwaru. Actually, even Kwangwaru has very many high notes. I don't think she would have handled, but a song like Kadamshi, some song to just dance to. I'm very sure Sheebah would have murdered that very well, but she chose Atarudi, a very emotional, powerful, vocally sublime song, which I think she failed to pull up well. And actually, Harmonize took on her song Mami Yo, which is a dance song, and he murdered it, he killed it. Really, for you who are not so familiar with Coke Studio setups, is that people do something like a duet. They are together, they do something of a duet together, that one will sing another person's song and the other will sing another person's song. So Sheebah was coupled up with Harmonize, and each one had to do another song, that kind of thing. Anyway, so most people actually started wondering, many Kenyans, friends of mine of course, they would ask me, really, Sheebah is now your diva? They are used to days of the likes of Juliana Kanyomozi, whereby the biggest Ugandan diva would be a vocal goddess or something of the sort, or the likes of Cindy herself actually, who is battling Sheebah. her times when they were with the likes with Blue 3, they were powerful Ugandan trio. They had beautiful voices. They were the best, as you could say, best female acts in Uganda. Sheebah is currently the best female act in Uganda. That you cannot dispense that. You cannot avoid that. You cannot dispute it. She is the best, but vocally, really, she is not up there. And well, one thing about that particular thing that actually pissed people off was when Vinka got triggered into entering that beef. Yes, because during that same interview, when Cindy was interviewed of whether she can battle whether she can battle Sheebah, she went on to say that really all these guys, all these new girls, I should say, cannot sing. That the only thing they can do is follow what the management tells them. They have great managers and great management, and these people help them become famous and do great music by getting them songwriters, by getting them good producers, by pushing them very well, getting them shows, sending out the music to radio stations and TVs and stuff of the sort. That they really do not have that talent. And for her, as Cindy, she's a one-man army. She likes to call herself the king Cindy, not queen. Many people like to say queen of the dancehall, but Cindy says she's the king of the dancehall in Uganda. I get that. So Vinka got pissed by the word that Cindy said, because she said many of them are just dummies being run by management. And Vinka got involved in this battle, also attacking Cindy on social media. Sad for her is that most people didn't like Vinka joining this beef. They said she's too young in this music industry to begin involving herself in such battles between Cindy and Sheebah. And all people on the side of Vinka, on the side of Cindy, and those on the side of Sheebah went against Vinka and insulting her badly on her Facebook post. Really, they really did bad to her just because she was dissing Cindy. But then they said she was ignorant about this entire stuff. Of course, that was Vinka saying that about Cindy, that she's ignorant. Not everyone is supposed to be a writer and things of the sort. But people didn't understand any argument by Vinka. They just went out all on her and lashed out at her. Well, it seems that Vinka is actually now greater than all these guys in a given aspect, because she has just been signed by Sony. Yes, Sony Music has signed Vinka. Believe it or not, they have signed Vinka, not Sheebah and not Cindy, because they believe she is the best act from Uganda when you look at the female side as per now. And she announced this great news through her Twitter and Instagram, of course. But then she went like, I am glad to announce that I have joined the Sony Music Africa family. Thanks to my family, Swanks Avenue, for believing in me since day one, and everyone else that has ever believed in me and loved Vinka to this new journey. Well, before we even talk about that entire tweet, let's first talk about the last line in that tweet. It brought really big arguments among the elites and mixed reactions, because she said, let's take this blood clot Uganda to the world. And the word blood clot, according to most Jamaicans and people in the Caribbean, is a very, very nasty, vulgar, scathing word that you would never say out. It's more vulgar than the F word. You realize Americans would say the F word, yeah, in movies, and they would never say it in front of their parents or never say it on TV. In fact, it's even censored in music when it's being played on TV and radio. But in Jamaica, actually, the words blood, CL80, and bombo, CL80, those kinds of words, they are very vulgar. They're more vulgar than the F word. So Vinka using it to call Uganda blood, that thing really is something that pissed off many elites. But others said, no, it was just a gesture, it's no big deal, or something of that sort. But anyway, in another tweet that Vinka pushed out, she said, I stand 5 feet 5 inches with my sneakers on. I remember 2 years ago when I started singing, some people made fun of my voice because I sounded like a man to them. So I thought to myself, should I try and sound like a girl? But now this manly voice is the new sexy to me. What were you teased about? Well, she was asking the fans what they were teased about. And really, Vinka has a strong voice, truly. And the thing she said about people making fun of her, that she sounds like a man and stuff, is true, because her voice is really, really strong and macho and a little masculine. in hits like Overdose, hits like Malaika and Chips na Ketchup, Vinka's voice really comes out perfectly well. And on the other hand, actually, many were happy for her that she had joined Sony Music, but I personally had mixed feelings. Until now, I still really don't feel happy about this entire thing, because I don't agree with this entire thing of people or Ugandan musicians and Africans as a whole, apart from a few Nigerians, being signed to labels like Universal Music and Sony Music, because sometimes it doesn't help them too much. Yeah, it just spoils their clout at home and doesn't take them so far internationally, and in the end their careers end badly, or they deteriorate, as I should say. So on Twitter, I actually also personally went and aired out my views, which made some people angry at me and some agreed with me anyway. This is what I wrote. I don't know what you might think about it as well. As you celebrate, I am actually sad for Vinka. Sony and Universal Music haven't proved to be good to any African musician signed to them. Full stop. Period. That's what I wrote. And many people didn't agree with me, but really, if I'm out here to explain my tweet, I'll tell you, people like Davido and Wizkid are happy, according to many people, and those are the exceptions, I would say. But then Wizkid himself might not be so happy, because remember, he had issues with his Mania video when he was releasing the song. Sony Music had issues with it and stuff of the sort. And then D'banj as well. D'banj has deteriorated. His career is not as great as it used to be back then. Techno also, he's no longer hitting as he used to back then. And our very own female rapper Keiko, really, she vanished after signing with Sony. And back then she was like the biggest African female rapper back then. Yes, you would easily argue it that she was the biggest during that time when she signed with Sony. And then you'd look at people like Diamond Platnumz. Diamond has failed to push his A Boy from Tandale album according to how he had expected to do it, because of course, well, it must be management issues, as I might wager. And then Ali Kiba's projects also, there have been very few, and he has actually even resorted to accusing others about his misfortune and accusing them of using robots because they have more views than him. Can you imagine such kind of thing? But it's all because of the labels. I can't really fully blame them, but that's what I think, because Ali Kiba actually, he made me sad when I hear him, or when I heard him saying such things, because I would wonder, did he also use robots on his hit song like Moana? Because it was a very big song and it genuinely got YouTube views. So would we say because Harmonize is getting many views or more views than him, and Diamond is getting more views than him, or maybe Nandi or Aslay, or even some Kenyans like not Calligraph doesn't get very many, some Kenyans like Omar Sauti, or people like those, they're getting more views than him. So should we say they're all using robots on YouTube to get views? Really, this is not a realistic thing for him to say, because actually, if he doesn't know, a place like Tanzania is one of the most really vibrant on the internet among African countries. When you look at their YouTube statistics, they're overwhelming. Yes, they're up there just close to Nigeria, or sometimes even ahead of it. Their YouTube stats are very amazing. Tanzania as a country, even on Instagram itself. So sometimes those people are blinded by that, and they think maybe people from other parts of the world are not as big as they are, so they're supposed to be doing greater than them. Yes, something which is not realistic. So should we say Ali Kiba has fake Instagram followers because he has more followers than Vybz Kartel? Because clearly Vybz Kartel is a way bigger artist than Ali Kiba, like 50 times. You get? Yeah. And so should we say he also has fake YouTube videos because he has more views than Vybz Kartel or Kofi or something of that sort? Or sometimes he has more views than Wizkid, or more views than Davido or something of that sort? Well, I'm sorry for really swaying this argument to the side of Ali Kiba, but I just remembered that and it had to be talked about. Anyway, I'm glad that he finally stopped believing that someone is doing crazy stuff to his YouTube channel such that his views fluctuate. I'm glad he currently doesn't believe that anymore, but that robot thing is really so juvenile. I don't really become happy whenever he says it. But well, going to Hollywood, The Amazing Grace. that big Emmy award winning American TV show on CBS called The Amazing Race had its episode in Uganda here, and it was a very amazing one, as I should say. It's more like the name, a race between various people, teams of two that race to complete given tasks that are given in by the crew. And this time they came to Uganda, and of course the first stop that they had was the Entebbe airport in Uganda, and they were tasked to go straight to Uganda National Mosque, which most people call Gaddafi Mosque, because it was funded by Gaddafi to be built here in Uganda, Gaddafi National Mosque or something of the sort. And their first task actually on reaching there was to climb the minaret and count its stairs. If you don't know a minaret, it's that long thing that you normally see on big mosques, very, very tall kind of tower on top of a mosque or near a mosque. It's called a minaret, and they had to climb it. That thing is very tall. Actually, I've been close to it, the minaret at the Uganda National Mosque. It is very tall. There's a photo of mine I took close to it, and I could just look up like this, almost looking into the sun. It's tall, but imagine the first task of those people was to climb it and count all the stairs. Imagine, such a very hard task. And it's crazy that those that failed to get the right number of stairs that they were supposed to count had to go back, because the stairs were the ones that were marked. Some had gone to Google and googled the number of stairs because they knew it was the task, yet actually the stairs that were needed were the ones that were marked by the crew. So they had to go back like twice, down and up. Imagine. It was a very, very hard task for such people. And the next task after that one was to go to Owino Market. For you that don't know Owino Market, maybe those Kenyans and Tanzanians, Owino Market is like your equivalent of Kariako, that kind of market, congested, very many people, very many things happening, people selling this and that, such a market. So that's our Owino in Kampala. So they had to go to Owino Market and buy a Rolex. Now, some of you as well might not know what a Rolex is. A Rolex is just the Ugandan kind of snack that has a chapati and eggs. Yeah, egg omelette. So chapati and rolled eggs, like one Muzungu said in that race. So people had to go there. They had to go there, the Bazungu, and get that Rolex, and then go to the next task, or task I should say. So it was a little hard for them, many of them. And I remember one hilarious part when a lady Muzungu went and tried to look for a Rolex and said, "A Rolex watch, I want a Rolex watch." And you know, Owino is a big place, so there is every kind of thing. You can find watches. So she went and looked for a Rolex watch and she was given the Rolex watch, and of course there was no clue from the person, so she knew it wasn't that task she was supposed to find, and said, "Oh no, this is not it." And she had to look around for like an hour and a half looking for a Rolex. Imagine, yet the Rolex stands were just many around there. And that was the most hilarious thing about it. And the other thing was the girls that were washing clothes with hands. That was their task. Of course, it might not be a big deal to you as an African to wash clothes with your hands, but to most people in the first world countries, they don't wash clothes with their hands. They use washing machines at home, or they send them to the laundry places to be washed. They don't use their hands to wash clothes like we do here. So many of these girls were saying that no wonder Ugandan women do not have that weight after giving birth to kids, because washing clothes is just more intense than gym. Imagine. So and I began wondering at that point that, hey, is that why Zari doesn't have baby weight after having 5 kids? Because she looks very fit. Maybe she washes her clothes with her hands. Just a joke anyway. But that's it about that. They went on to go to Gaba learning site to clean fish and then play drums and do all those other interesting things. But then the most interesting thing of all about this entire Amazing Grace thing was the team that won was of a gay couple. And as you might know, that thing, same-sex relationships and gay stuff was banned in Uganda. Even though the new law was revoked by the president after he signed it, he later revoked it when there was pressure from the international community. But remember that the penal code that was brought by the British during the colonial times is still functioning, and it outlaws homosexuality. or relationships between same sexes. So most of these people were scared, mostly the gay couple. They even broke down and cried before the race started, saying they're not sure, they're coming to a place where people don't like people of their kind and stuff of the sort. But interestingly, this couple actually is the one that won the race, and in the end their testimony really hit me hard. They said they expected hateful conduct, but they didn't get any of that, and they just got good vibes because they dispelled good vibes. And I was so happy about this entire thing, that people showed them good vibes because they showed good vibes, and there was no bad blood. Anyway, I think I've talked a lot today, really, and I'd like to end this podcast right here. And thank you very much for really listening in. And if you've really reached this far, you're the real MVP. Thank you for listening to SNS. Thank you for supporting SNS. And if you found this interesting, please like and comment and also subscribe. Till next time, ciao.